Well, today's Friday. I'm out for some deliveries. Just picked up something at the bistro. It's called Rau, R-A-U, Rau Bistro. And heading over to western part of downtown. Downtown
Continue on 4th Avenue Southwest West for 1.5 kilometers.
Downtown is definitely where it's at. I stopped wasting my time, in the east or even northwest. Actually, this morning I came out around 11:30, sat for some 10 minutes at the Starbucks there at Highway 2 and Country Hills Boulevard, which is Calgary Northwest as far as DoorDash is concerned. Sat there for 10 minutes, nothing. So I just drove, 15 clicks south to pretty much interchange between Highway 16 or 1 and Highway 2, which is the border of Calgary Northwest and Calgary Central. And now I'm in Calgary Central. So I just wanted to show you I love the downtown here. It's very driver friendly. You can still find parking, as long as there's not too many cars. But I mean, you can find parking. What I mean is that even most of the parking is payment required type, but you go around the corner into a small street and you will see something like 2 hours or loading zone. So there's a bunch of hotels here, so I'm driving on 4th Avenue. So like I always say, it's way better than in Toronto. And I read some bad news about Uber again this morning. There was a story online where they did a survey, talked with 585 people, I think, last year. And they were asking them about their income compared to previous years. And Uber people were saying that their revenue dropped by 17% in 2023 compared to 2022. Wow, the weather today is pretty bad. It's not cold, +4. Where am I looking here? Okay. And I'm sitting outside of the Registry, so it's only probably 11:30. I already spent $350. How did that happen? Well, first off, on Tuesday when I was doing deliveries and it was +13 Celsius outside, which is like 55 F, for some reason I was driving in stop and go traffic in downtown Calgary, and I noticed like the sound of the engine changed, like the engine sounded kind of like funny, like it was struggling, when I was idling, sitting at a set of lights. And I flipped my screen, changed the dash, because it's all digital, right? So I changed the digital dash to show me some more information, and one of them over there is like fuel economy, coolant, and I see coolant is 107 Celsius. And of course, boiling temperature is 100, right? For water. Coolant, of course, it's a bit higher because it's more dense. But anyways, 105, 107, 108, what the heck? And then finally it reaches 110. And I kind of like panicked, but then I noticed that my climate control was off. And then when I turned the climate control on, and I usually just use auto climate control, and set it at 20.5 Celsius, and it started working normally. The temperature of the coolant was keeping, because it's a 90-degree thermostat in Celsius, so it's, what is it, like 195 F, and it should be closer to 90, right? And then I checked the I checked the coolant tank, and I waited till it cooled down a little bit, and I opened it slowly. Of course, there was some gas coming out, but then I see like bubbles coming from the bottom of the coolant, and the engine compartment was super hot. When I grabbed that, that rod that you use to keep your hood open, that rod was super hot. Like almost burned my hand. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, I never had this in the summer when it was like plus 30, 35, way hotter, right? And then the coolant was a bit low, and so I went to a store and I bought some cheap coolant, and I'm not sure what I was thinking. Like, I'm pouring, and I'm like, wait, that one is red. What am I doing? I'm pouring green, like for all the cars, right? And I only did like maybe 100 mil, but then I got the proper one, but still they react together, right? And so I see the color now became kind of like dirt, like brown. And so I booked an appointment at Chrysler, in my area there, Country Hills Chrysler. This was Tuesday. It started doing this. So, and also I saw some when I'm leaving my parking lot, I see some stain, like maybe 3/4 of a foot in diameter. I tried it with my fingers. It's not oily. It's just clear. I don't know, was it water or was it coolant? But it's not sticky, And so I booked an appointment, and this morning at 8:30 I showed up there, and I'm sitting in the driveway waiting for them to open the gate, because I showed up early, like 8:15, and they opened at 8:30. And I kept idling just out of curiosity to see what's going to happen. I turned off my climate control, and I see again, it's only +4 today. I see that the temperatures of the coolant starts going 105, 107, 108. But as soon as it hits 109, it starts going back. So it was working, but why is it getting so high? So anyway, go inside, checked in, and asked him to check my thermostat and check if there's any leaks underneath. But they did say it's probably just water from my AC system, because I'm always running heat, right, and or auto climate control. So they said, yeah, there's no leaks, and I asked them to flush the cooling system and fill it up with the proper coolant. So they charged me for, I said, do we need to flush? Can you just drain it and put the new one in? No, it needs to be flushed. So of course they charged me for that, for the antifreeze they used for flushing. Then they charged me for the proper coolant or antifreeze. So it was like $300 Canadian. So I asked him to double check the numbers. I said, are you sure? I think this whole cooling system is like 3.5 liters. And they double checked. They said, no, actually it's 7.5 liters. But still, that's just two jugs, 2-gallon jugs. And they charged me like $130 for flushing and $130 to refill. But it's Mopar coolant, probably has some gold inside. I don't know, crazy, but at least. Oh, and they said that 110 is the proper. That's like the cutoff limit. That's how this thermostat works. So they said that's normal. So anyway, no issues. Just I screwed up the coolant. A mistake that cost me $300, and I paid $20 for that green coolant, and then I threw it out, and I bought the proper one, like a shell, clear coolant. I probably should throw it out, but actually it's clear, so it should be okay. It says for newer cars. That one was like $11. And in other news, surprise, surprise, you do learn something, every day. Turns out that not all comments on YouTube are stupid or offensive. So somebody left a couple of people left interesting comments about I was talking about air brakes, right? And some people left comments about air brakes in Canada, saying that does not expire, right? And I had AZ in Ontario. A is class 1, Z or Z is air brakes endorsement. And actually, yeah, one guy said, when he moved to Alberta, he was able to get 5Q, which is Q is the air brakes endorsement here in Alberta. And so I decided to, what the heck, I saw a job posted where they were looking for a driver to drive a small truck with class 5. And class 5 actually doesn't have to be small, it just means that it has only 2 axles, steer and 1 axle in the back, right? Not a tandem. For that one you need class 3. And so, but one job was posted, I forgot how much it paid, but for a truck, but you need to have 5Q, 5 with air brakes endorsement, so it gives you more opportunities. Sometimes, some of these trucks, they do have air brakes, right? Like even with a single axle in the back. And so I came to the registry here, which is Ministry of Transportation Office, or DOT as they call it in the States. And first of all, I said, guys, can you please check the status of that ticket I got, that U-turn? Because before, when I came here, I tried to pay the fine after the court found me guilty of a huge offense. So basically now I'm a criminal because of that U-turn. So I came here and they said, no, you cannot pay because the status of the ticket shows as, what did it say? Basically the ticket was on the system, but it showed that it was late. It was not paid, that it was, late, basically, which is, violation. Like it did not even show that I was waiting for the court. And I said, hey, I went to court because of this. And they said, well, our system still has not been updated. It shows that you have this old ticket on, and it's not paid, and so that's why I went to my bank and I got the official bank check or, draft, and I sent it to the court. And so now I wanted to check if it's been corrected. And she says, yeah, it doesn't show any unpaid tickets. Everything is good. I said, how many demerit points did I get? And she says, I cannot see that. You have to buy a driver's abstract. Which is total BS. She's sitting in front of the computer. She cannot tell me how many demerit points I got. It's probably 2 or 3, and they stay on your record for a long time. So that's why now I have to be careful, because you can lose your license once you get to, I think, 6. And many job offers, when they look for drivers, for example, they say not more than 6 demerit points. So you gotta be careful with these demerit points. But she would not tell me. And anyway, and then I said, okay, fine, we're good with the ticket. I said, now, okay, I moved here from Ontario on October 22. Can you please see my old license, what I had before? And I explained to her that I was a trucker since 2005 until 2022. I had A class 1 with Z air brakes endorsement. And she looked up and she says, why didn't you get class 1 when you moved here? I said, I didn't want to do a medical. So she looks at me. But I said, now I want to do class 4. So I still need to do a medical for a taxi or a small bus. And then she prints out information from my file, and it says, and she calls the supervisor, and they say, oh, it does not show that you had class 1. It shows that in Alberta you had 5Z. You had class 5 with Z air brakes endorsement. I said, class 5, which is like cars, right? I said, I was a trucker. Like, you cannot drive a tractor trailer in Ontario with class 5. And first off, I said, Ontario doesn't have numbers, they have letters. So it would have been G if it's regular license, or A if it's tractor trailer. But I said, anyway, somebody screwed up. But I said, I know I cannot get class 1 back, and I don't want to. But I said, it does show that I had air brakes. And she says, yes, it shows that you had air brakes in Ontario. I said, okay, can I get it back? And they said, why they didn't give it to you? They said, if they mess it up, it's supposed to give like an error on the computer screen, and they should call you. She says, anybody called you after you got this license? I said, no, nobody called me. She says, weird. I said, can you see the name of the clerk who did the exchange, who gave me this license? And she and the supervisor, they smiled. I said, we should punish that person. And they said, no, we cannot see the name of the person who did this. Like, unbelievable, And they said, well, but next time when you sign your paperwork, make sure you double check everything. But, I totally forgot about this, air brakes. that you do it only once. It does not matter what province in Canada you got it, you have it for life, right? And so yeah, they said we're gonna give it back to you, but you have to pay $28. I said screw it, I'll pay, because normally to get air brakes you have to take a class. You cannot just come here and do a computer test. You have to go and pay, I think it's either anywhere from $100 to $200 for a classroom class, and then you write a test after that training is done in the classroom, and they give you like a certificate that you took a course, and then only after that you come here and you take a computer test, and again they charge you probably the same $28. So to get that fresh from start, it involves lots of learning and training, and at least $228, right? And so I saved $200. So now she gave me a temporary license, just like a piece of paper, and she says your new one will arrive in the mail in 2 weeks, and once you get it, she says just shred this one. So she gave me back my old license, but she says this one is not active anymore, so if a cop stops me, I cannot show it to them. I have to use this piece of paper she gave me. Hold on, did I take it? And then they said, do you want to have a new picture? And I just recently cut my hair, so I said, yeah, maybe let's do a new picture. And she except this one, this red spot showed from my head. The red spot showed on the picture, but she showed me the picture looked better than on my previous license. And then I signed on the pad, so yeah, this is what it looks like. Okay. But the interesting part is this. So now they added here, see, condition Q. Condition Q. So Z, air brakes. So now when my new license arrives, it'll say class 5 Q. So now basically I can drive a truck with single axle in the back and with air brakes. So something's happening, I accomplished something today. But man, look at this weather. And that's the Registry or Ministry of Transportation office over there. And it's raining. So I better go and do some deliveries, because I spent so much money on this coolant flushing fiasco. Need to make some money back. And usually when it's raining, it's good for deliveries, because people don't want to go out, they want to order food. Well, today was a crazy day, Saturday. So I went out to do some work for DoorDash and Uber. Three interesting situations occurred. One, a guy ordered some fancy Japanese tea from 10 kilometers away. So I picked it up. He says, leave it in front of my door, knock on the door. Okay, he never gave me a bus code, so I had to look it up in the directory. It was, like a condo building. I had to look up his number, called him, found him by the apartment, and then I took the elevator. I put the tea in front of his door. I knocked on the door, and I walked to the elevator, and I left. Clicked delivery done. And then an hour later, I received a message. He texted me, Sergei, what floor did you leave the tea on? And I'm like, I know his apartment was like 617, so I said on the 6th floor. So I know that I did not make a mistake. It was the correct floor, but he never texted me again. I don't know what happened. And then second situation, again, totally not my fault. A lady ordered wine from 20 kilometers away, and it was paying like $22, but okay, I'll do it, because I was ready to go home. I just needed like $20-30 more to get to 150. So that's what I made today, $150. And so she orders wine. I go to the liquor store and I look at the order. It says one item, some Cab Sav wine, like regular, cheap wine. The guy gives me a bottle. I bring it over there. They make me wait at the door for like 5 minutes till she gets even though I sent him a message. I said, I'm here. And I knock on the door, some guy comes out very grumpy. Yeah? I said, yeah, I have a delivery for Laura. Oh, Laura, okay, your food is here. I said, no, it's not food, it's wine. Oh, okay. So like 5 minutes later, the lady finally shows up. Then she says, oh, you probably need my license, driver's license. I said, yeah. So she goes back in. 5 minutes later, she comes out. Okay, I scanned the driver's license, everything is cool. But when I give her the package with one bottle inside, she like kind of like has this dubious look on her face, and she looks inside and she says, this is not right. I said, what do you mean? She says, oh, it was supposed to be a box. It was supposed to be a box of wine. I said, no, it was one item. That's what the guy gave me. Like, I'm not, you know, I picked up what they gave me according to the order. And she says, oh, okay, thank you. And so, and then the third, well, I didn't lose any money on this because it's nothing to do with me, right? It's how they order. Maybe because she was a bit tipsy, I could see she was already tipsy, you know, but not drunk, but I could see that she was not 100%. And then the last interesting thing that happened today was there was an order. Again, I try not to decline too many orders from DoorDash because then, you know, now I have this dubious title of top dasher, right? So I have to maintain 5 out of 5, you know, what do you call it? A rating from customers, and 70% or more acceptance rate, right? And so they sent me this order, and it's shop and pay. So I have to go to a Real Canadian Superstore. Yeah, I'm just driving in circles here before I finish my story. Real Canadian Superstore, but of course what was scary, it said 44 items. 44 items, you know, like from experience I know that's like 2 hours. But I said, okay, screw it. I'm already, you know, pretty good at this. I can do it pretty fast. So it took me 1 hour, 90 minutes. And when they sent me that offer, it said $22, but then in brackets it said the final price will be higher. Okay, and so I show up there, I pay with a corporate card, and there's like 5 or 6 bags, you know, like the total of worth of food they bought was over $300. It was a lot of food, you know. But I managed to find everything, I think, except one item. And so, yeah, 44 items, you know, it was something. And then, so, thankfully, it was just a house. I didn't have to climb to like second story or something like before. And so, it took me like 2 trips to grab everything from my trunk and put it on the porch. Took a picture, and then when I click complete delivery completed, confirm yes, I was just curious to see how much tip they gave me, because you know some of these people are just like they give you $2 tip, you know, for all this shopping, and I was really shocked to see they gave me a $42 tip. Let me say that again, $42 tip. So I'm guessing because they bought more than $300 worth of food, they gave me like a 15% tip from the entire amount, you know? It's like unbelievable. Like that that, you know, kind of like made my day, because so one delivery I pretty much, so $20, 22 or something, 23 base pay plus 42 tip, so it was like over $60 just from one order. You know, that was like, it made me feel, you know, not like a loser, like a winner, you know. So that was interesting, and there was no way they never came out. I wanted to thank them, you know, but they never came out, so I just left all the bags at their door. But you know, there are some good people in this world that appreciate efforts of you know, delivery drivers, and I had to buy bags, so I packaged everything nicely. But man, they got a lot of food.